I've talked a number of times about Blue Sky's output and the impressive set of animated features they've released over the years. However, what about their humble beginnings? They didn't just start out making full-length computer animated features from the start, and their early history is just as interesting as their later work. Blue Sky Studios was founded in 1987 by a group of employees who had worked at the company Magi, who was largely responsible for the computer effects in Tron. One of those employees was Chris Wedge, who was trained in computer graphics. Like a lot of computer animation studios at the time, Blue Sky mainly worked in commercials, which got a lot of interest for how they used lighting. That was their specialty, and one that caught the attention of a number of companies who commissioned them, including 20th Century Fox later on. Chris Wedge also created a couple of experimental short films. Before the founding of Blue Sky, he created a short film called Tuber's Two-Step, which was quite unique in that it lacked the perfection that was usually a byproduct of the technology, and he played around with shapes that weren't geometric. He applied the same thought process to Balloon Guy, which sought to see if the unpredictable movements of balloons could be placed into computer animation. Moving on to their commercials, Blue Sky received a lot of attention, for one advertising Braun shavers, which was so revolutionary at the time some people thought it was real. Blue Sky has also had a close relationship with Pixar, to the point they got the chance to animate a commercial for Pepsi based on their recommendation. And they created this commercial for Chock full of nuts, featuring a talking coffee bean. Sorry I could only find still images for those, as these are really difficult commercials to find. But there is one piece of promotional material the Blue Sky team animated that is definitely ingrained in your memory. That's right, Blue Sky animated the iconic piece of Nickelodeon history. From there, they moved into the field of visual effects. Their first major effort were the cockroaches in MTV's first movie, Joe's Apartment. Joined by the recently employed Carlos Sadaya and John Cars, Chris Wedge had to make sure the CG cockroaches had to blend seamlessly with the stop-motion and animatronic insects. The standout sequence was the Funky Towel scene, which had the roaches perform a choreographed Busby Berkeley-like musical number. This was so good it received individual achievement awards at worldwide film festivals. After Joe's Apartment, Fox came a-calling. Blue Sky was given the responsibility of handling the effects for the CG xenomorphs in the fourth Alien movie, Alien Resurrection, and the penguin in Edward Norton's mind in Fight Club.
You're going to find your power animal.
Yep, that bird's animation was supervised by Carlos Sadaya, long before he brought us the colorful macaws and toucans of Rio. Wanting to stretch his creative wings on his own personal project, Chris Wedge directed a short film called Bunny, almost as a showcase for Blue Sky's capabilities as both technical innovators and storytellers. What was immediately noticeable was the use of light as the lamp hits the model. It was a simple idea, very nicely directed by Wedge, and also tackling some serious themes about death. While it seems like a very dark short, it actually offers a fairly optimistic portrait of the afterlife, as we see the bunny who missed her husband so much reunited with him. For his efforts, Chris Wedge won the Oscar for Best Animated Short, which led the producers at Fox to notice they may have their own Pixar on their hands. During this time, Blue Sky was also providing the computer effects for the planets in Don Bluth's Titan AE. Around that time, Bluth was working on a hand-drawn animated film about the Ice Age. When his animation studio was shut down, the idea was taken to Wedge and his team at Blue Sky to turn into a computer-animated movie, albeit one with a more comedic bent than the more dramatic take Bluth was developing. Throughout production, they learned a lot about mounting a feature film for the first time, and even with Fox recently burnt by Titan's failure and trying to sell the movie to other distributors, Blue Sky trekked on. And when that little squirrel walked on screen for the first time, history was made. And that little East Coast animation studio, started in 1987 by 7 people with a dream, finally came into its own. And since then, they've given us the wonderful birds of Rio, an epic adventure in the trees, and a boy and his beagle. See you next time.